is the first issue of Detective Comics, from which DC Comics was later named. It's published in March 1937. Fu Manchu, a very popular character, was on the cover of our first issue.
Welcome, frantic ones, to the fabulous world of comic books, filled with color and action, handsome heroes, kryptonite green monsters, beautiful ladies. We're about to take a behind-the-scene look at the incredible world of comic books. Remember all those old comic books your mother made you throw out? Well, yesterday's trash is today's masterpiece. This is a comic book convention, a fabulous fate where frantic, fanatic fans finally find that long-lost classic, where the price of a comic book may be a schoolboy's pocket money,
There you go. It's worth at least
or a millionaire's monthly allowance.
7,000 probably.
I was offered 900 on the Morphin 52 and I turned it down.
Yes, why'd you turn that down? That's pretty good.
I don't want to break him up. It's a set. That's the first half of the original.
Haggling won't help, pal. Take it or leave it. The demand is heavy.
That's $1,000 above guy. The books aren't even new.
Okay, that's what, 3,000?
1,500.
1,500. Okay. Next one. That is a beautiful.
Well, you know, I've been looking for these for a long time. As a matter of
But
fact,
conventions are only the tip of the iceberg in today's world of comic books. They become a big business with high stakes.
You know, the criminals catch him, they put him in a vat of cement and throw him in the water. And he comes back as a specter to fight crime.
New York City, the Big Apple. Yep, here it's action, action, action. And the people never stop. That's the world of high finance for you. Yes, in these buildings, two huge corporations are battling it out right now for sales that total millions and millions of smackaroos a year. Is it ITT versus AT&T? Perhaps at the United Nations, the great powers battling it out. Is it NBC battling ABC? No. This is the battle between the comic book empires of DC and Marvel. They fight, compete, bash, pow, swoosh. DC Superman and Marvel's Spider-Man in a classic punch-out. It's the only time the two companies have worked together. Naturally, both characters ended up winning.
Are these the shots for the human fly?
Right. These are the character sketches I had John Romita work up for us.
Great. Now this is the way he really is.
This is it in real life,
Yeah.
and this is the way Johnny's tried to glamorize it a bit,
Great.
tightening the costume and things.
We took off the cape, huh?
Watch
Right,
closely,
I felt
because the Human Fly,
when he wears
a
it,
new Marvel
it's
comic,
to show
is about to be created before your very eyes. Stan Lee, the elder statesman on the right, and Archie Goodwin are working out the shtick.
who may possibly be the human fly.
Yeah. These, this is the pilot, the TV reporter. Let's see, we'll put this with this one. These are the characters who are going to be the candidates for herodom, if we can find out which one is the real human fly, right? I like the pilot very much. Yeah, she's a black girl. That's good.
I may
Stan
go
Lee
for
knows the importance of characters and shtick. A pioneer of modern comic books, he's written over 10,000 comic stories.
Type, I think, is really great for the TV reporter. That was a good touch.
Comics were about the cutest little animals. But today, when you talk comics, you talk heroes, superheroes. They come in teams. They have fabulous powers. Their names are magic. The Silver Surfer, Namor, the Submariner, Conan the Barbarian, and the Incredible Hulk. Great balls of kryptonite. Meanwhile, a mild-mannered reporter strolls unnoticed through downtown Metropolis. Does he look familiar, fans? Is this merely a disguise? Only a double identity? Look, up in the sky. Could it be? It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's... No, he isn't. He isn't even a reporter. I lied. He's ace comics artist Neal Adams.
I already have Joe Namath. I already have Frank Sinatra.
Well, I think by having President Carter, our foremost citizen, our number one citizen, looking at the right in the.
What about Ford?
Ford, he should be right next to him.
On the back. On the back.
No,
Both on the back.
No, I don't think we pictured our Ford on the back. But
This is DC Comics, neck and neck with Marvel.
Faces that are going to be on the cover. What about? Let's get into the story. Now I'm up to the sequence where Superman and Muhammad Ali are training together. And they're fighting in Superman's Fortress of Solitude. We've stopped time or slowed it down. And what I wanted to discuss basically today is that I would like, if possible, to have the aliens send down a couple of robots.
You mean robots like mechanical men, Robbie the robot,
Right.
bucket of bolts kind of robots?
Right. Yes, and what I'd like to do is have Muhammad Ali start to fight them. Superman hasn't got his powers at the moment because he's in training.
he's still under the influence of the Red Sun in training for this big fight that's to come.
And then he comes in and he and Ali are fighting the robots, right?
Yeah.
And he comes in his superhero fashion, standard Superman bit, takes him out, whereas Ali, savvy, ring-wise, ring tactician, uses all of his boxing knowledge to win.
Actually, he's in effect saving Superman's life before Superman gets his powers back. Superman really isn't very good at this.
Yeah, he's the new boy on the block.
Right. And he's created a giant tidal wave, and Superman has to stop a tidal wave, very small guy. The only way he can stop it is by creating a force, a sonic force, by smashing the two most indestructible things in the world together, his fists. So he smashes them together in front of him. Boom! And the sonic wave stops the tidal wave, stops it instantly, and it falls.
Here's Ed Summers, a serious comic collector.
Piece is the first thing they ever did for Jumbo Comics #1. It's the Count of Monte Cristo. It's really pretty straight compared to some of Jack's other things, which are much more dynamic. It's what he developed later. Kirby at the time was going under the name of Jack Curtis because it wasn't really too decorous to be known as a comic book artist. It was pretty new. This is Kirby at his best. You can see here the qualities that Jack Kirby became famous for. The most obvious one is the exaggeration of the size of the hand, which makes it appear to come forward from the page. It's a technique, it's called foreshortening. It was used in the 16th century by some religious artists. Then over here he has the action lines with the hammer, so it really looks as though it's moving.
It's fans like Ed Summers that have taken comics from the newsstands and put them into the Museum of Modern Art. A fanatic fan will pay any price for some of the original artwork from the pencil of Neal Adams, or a Steranko, or from Jack King Kirby.
In Neal Adams' work, you can see that here's a drawing that's very similar to the Thor cover that we looked at before. It's different in Adams' works because the hand is very, very realistic. You can see that it's very similar, an enlarged portion of the body here and a smaller portion here, which makes the figure seem to come forward.
But back at DC Comics, 17-year-old Trevor Von Eaton, still in high school, is working on his first pro comic.
You're on vacation now? From school? Yeah.
Classes ended on Tuesday.
Great, then you can finish your story. Look, there's some corrections we have to make on this. Let me show it to you. On the first panel here, Black Lightning's not quite big enough. So let's redrawing from the top to the bottom. All right?
Yeah, but if we do that, then we'll be hiding the logo.
It's all right.
At DC, first the writer usually creates a script. Then the artist sits down and draws, following the instructions. The result? A comic that tends to emphasize plot and words over art.
Like, look at this. This panel, right?
Yeah.
This is the first time he's talking, and even though he's already been established here, I think it's more important to have a close-up here than over there.
Okay, that's right, because it's his first speech. Okay, let's switch this around.
Because, you know, he's just sitting there.
Okay, let's have Clark's talking, him in the foreground
right,
here, Henderson in the background. Then we pull him up for your close-up in the last panel.
I think
yeah, right. That's this whole thing.
Meanwhile, back at Marvel.
How's it going with that team-up plot?
Pretty well. Pretty well.
Yeah, it looks like you got the Splash going all right.
Yeah.
What do we got? Spider-Man and Thor?
And Thor, yeah.
Do you think by cropping in on Thor's hammer, we kind of lose a little of the motion? Maybe if we could move it in a bit.
At Marvel, they do things the other way around. The result? A comic that tends to emphasize art over words.
Because the way you've got everything else arranged, the layout and everything looks fine. I think if you can get that one thing, it'll really be dynamite.
That's no problem, sure.
Either way, working on pro comics is like working on an assembly line. First, one artist draws the majestic vision with a pencil. Then another artist goes over it in dark ink. Then somebody else colors it, and somebody else letters it. And a whole other crew gets together to do the covers. Maybe you think comics are just pictures of people walking, talking, and beating each other up. Well, comics are art, which means new ideas, new innovations.
It's a storytelling page. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 panels, each of which tells an element of the story. But if you look at the whole page all together, it forms a face. You have to step back from it a little bit. And again, in color, it was a little clearer because some of the elements are made more distinct. Comic book artists are not beneath having in-jokes. The lower panel in this has what's called anamorphic writing, which was also used by Dolly. If you pick it up and look at it this way, all of those long, crooked lines coalesce into letters. And you can read it. It says, hey, a Jim Steranko effect.
In the war of comics, there's only one match for Neal Adams, that far-out artwork of Jim Steranko. Artist, author, publisher, and magician. Steranko is the tops in comic book avant-garde. He's flashy, bold, wildly visual. He revolutionized comic books like Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., and Captain America. What has he done for us lately? Chandler.
Remember when George Ramph did that little coin flip in Scarface? Chandler uses the film symbolism that we've come to know in the old Warner Brothers films like The Big Sleep and The Maltese Falcon, with guys like Edward G. Robinson and Cagney, of course, and Humphrey Bogart. These men themselves have become symbols of that kind of tough guy, hard-bitten, private eye image. And that's what we're doing in Chandler. For example, automobiles, for instance, were a very common symbol in those Warner Brothers films. You'll find that there's a reoccurring image of black limousines, massive, expensive black cars like Black Mariahs are speeding along with Tommy gun muzzles sticking out of their windows, spraying death over gangland streets. We have a car sequence in Chandler, too. The telephone became a symbol for violence and fear in 40s films, and in Chandler we use a great many telephone shots. We knew that by seeing enough of those movies that whenever the telephone rang, it meant there would be intimidation, coercion, threats, some kind of violence, perhaps even death. Believe it or not, even something as obvious and apparent as Venetian blinds have become part of the imagery of B films. Directors probably felt that because budgets were so low, they repeatedly used the imagery of Venetian blinds over and over again because they threw interesting patterns and shadows, some of them very menacing, on their characters, on the various sets, and it became part of the atmosphere of what has come to be known as film noir.
Okay, John.
Back at the convention, there's still lots going on. Apart from dealers' tables, where you can buy those old classics, comics conventions feature original art displays, panel discussions, movies, and a wild costume contest where you can get to be your favorite hero. Comics today not only exploit violence, they also exploit sex. Comics have never seen a hero who had a pot belly, or a heroine who wasn't pneumatic. So why should the convention be any different? Let me say, this is a horrible example of sexism in action, so don't watch. Is this called having your cake and eating it too?
On the metalman. She was made out of platinum, I think.
Even Wonder Woman, one of the rare breed of heroines who had her own comic, still gave up much of her superpowers just to be around her boyfriend.
Our first prize winner.
You really think the winner will be a guy?
Is Antonia Hawkins, Tina from the movie. Let's give all of the contestants a very big round of applause, please.
But the comics war is far from over. In fact, it's just taken a new twist. The DC telephone hotline.
Hi, DC fans. This is Joe Orlando. Weird Western will now premiere Scalp Hunt, a new breed of Western hero. Wait till you see Jonah Hex now in his own comic. And first of the year, watch out for the adventures of our brand new superhero, Black Lightning, written by Tony Isabella and drawn by a new young super artist, Trevor Von Eden.
The DC hotline, I guess, is a rather cute idea. Of course, I would like to feel that we at Marvel don't really need one as much because our readers, fans, and friends really know everything that's happening. We make a point of informing them. But no, it is a good idea. It's one of the few things I would wish that we had thought of first, but I think we have to give some points to the other side occasionally.
And who's it all for? All the high finance and the high pressure work? It's still for him, the kid on the street.